any other questions at all on the analysis? I want to take the opportunity to thank you. I know that this was no small feat, and thank you for coming out, for those of you that don't usually visit us, and thank you, LGS, for all your work. We really appreciate it. There's still going to be some cleanup efforts on this anyway, a little bit of proofreading and stuff. So I thank you. I don't have any other business other than, and yes, we will have public participation, determination of the next meeting date and time. I suggested either September 28th. We can do September 30th, but I would have to make it at least 1:30 because I'm coming from somewhere else.
30th is better for me.
30th?
If you need me, I'm going to be there.
What's next? You sign up?
Mary Ann?
Okay, the 30th at what time?
At 1:30?
Okay.
Great. 30th at 1:30. And I will talk to Mr. Moore and see that we can get a room here. 1:30, yeah. I'm coming from Galleon, so. Yes, thank you. You didn't scratch anybody's name off there, did you? Try to get in your comments here. Seriously, there's only, okay. Miss Walcott, we've got 3 people here, so 5 minutes max.
Okay, good evening. My question is, I heard them mention the Neighborhood Advisory Council. I'm wondering what's the difference in the Neighborhood Advisory Council and the Land Bank Commission?
Same thing.
Also, are the documents that you distribute to the members of the commission, are they public information?
Yes, they are.
And if they are public information, what is the procedure for me to receive them?
Good point.
Just come to me afterwards and we'll arrange
Okay.
that for you.
All the documents?
Yeah, they always
Okay.
are. This is a public meeting and sometimes they're always.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Omaze. All right.
Good afternoon to the commissioners. My first question is reference to the finances. It is incumbent that we have our finance director here to answer some questions regarding our finances. I understand the auditor plays a pivotal role, but they do not know all the integral parts here, and the finance director should be here to answer questions and how our finances stand in the city.
Mr.
Because
Mays, I would tell you that they are in the city much more than Mr. Johnson is.
I understand that, but that's totally unacceptable. That they should be, we should have.
Where you at?
Now, let me deal with something else, and then I'll get to the other part. I heard you say that the law director was a conflict of interest. And I would like for you to tell me how it is a conflict of interest when the law director is the little attorney general for the city of East Cleveland, represent the council, represent administration, represent the court. That is her function. And
When
so,
you have 2 parties that are suing each other, you can only represent one unless they agree to it.
well, then she's the law director, she shouldn't represent anybody then. She shouldn't represent anybody, we don't need a law director. We've had this, excuse me, that's my time to talk, so I appreciate you listening to me.
Absolutely.
And,
And I will give you another minute.
thank you, thank you, so kind. We've had this dilemma, I've traveled this road before. So we had the law director had to make a choice to represent. That's why we have a law director. That's why we have attorney general. That's why we have a county prosecutor, etc., to do these functions. And so that is her function, and I don't want it on the record talking about it's a conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest if we don't have a law director and there, because no one can hold that position unless they're a lawyer and they're required. My other question is this. We talked about annexation, and I heard from, I guess, the learned scholar of annexation, and which I respectfully differ, because you cannot equate the norms of Detroit with Ohio. The norms are totally different. So we don't have that pointing this or pointing that as far as annexation goes. Annexation is a tedious process. It is nothing easy about it goes. And then when you say annexation, and I heard you say something about you cannot equate what you call them, villages and townships with a municipality. We have the norms to function under a charter to function under the state of Ohio. So therefore, it is totally different. You cannot equate private bankruptcy with the municipality. The norms does not jive. So I'm not talking off the top of my head. I'm talking from experience and traveled these roads before. So when I hear that this commission is totally focused on painting a dim picture, it troubles me. Secondly, it bothers me when this commission has sat here on their posterior for months after months asking for a plan. Then the person that we put up here as the mayor walks out of here and don't want to hear what everybody else say or our rebuttal or whatever. He works at our behest.
They don't control.
And I know, I'm cognizant that they don't control him, but it's disrespect to them. They come in here to represent, help us in our finances, but it seems to be everybody's focus on annexation, opposed to how we can do and get a plan here, how we are going to move out from under the auspices of the state. And that troubles me. That troubles me because that's not your function. Your function is here to help and assist us in the finances and submitting a plan, seeing that we stick to it. If we do not, then you relegate us back to 85% or whatever other action you can take. I've been this road, traveled this road before. Sit there. And I understand how it goes. So, but when we sit back, and then because the council did not, and I want to put it on the record, I thank God that two of the councilors were not present at the time that they met to pass a plan which they had not even perused it or critiqued it or anything of that nature. That would have been derelict of responsibility. You passing something they could have had in there, taking all the council's money. And this council seemed to be relegated back to employees opposed to another equal branch of government. They control this city. They control what the mayor does or what have you. They have that authority and power. They authorize him. They appropriate. They are the ones set the budget and critique the budget. So I'm just saying what's going on here. Some of you sit up here smirking. It's nothing to smirk about. And that's because you can run it under some of us, and he can't run it under me. Because I've been there. I've sat there. I have experience from this perspective. So it just bothers me with the whole identical thing. And I hope that this board, this commission, will focus on the finances or what have you. Now, we're painting a dim picture. Some of you sitting on this board wanting annexation to take place. You're for it. That's not your function. Your function is to walk the narrow road straight. You don't lean this way or that way. Whether it's to
Extra
the
minute.
president,
Your
thank
time
you.
is over.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Lean towards the administration or the council or anyone else.
Amen.
Oh, and the question about the annexation about the school district, and I'll just put this in, Cleveland Heights does have, the Caledonia School is part of Cleveland Heights, and so,
That was
how-
already stated.
will you please let me finish my question?
Time is up.
I was just saying this, ma'am, and I'll yield the floor.
He can't
That, will they have a say in this annexation, which we know is not going to take place because the buck stopped with us?
He cannot be stopped.
Who's Harry Tolfree, please?
First of all, I actually live in the city of East Cleveland, Ohio, and there's a whole lot of people that run their mouth that don't live in the city of East Cleveland, Ohio. The first thing that comes when you're paying for a house, in my understanding, I just got through fixing some steps. My house, the 1922 house that my aunt and uncle bought in 1969, will be 100 years old in about 7 years. The city, my understanding, publicly, the mayor of Cleveland, Ohio has already said he wants the school system. I will tell you what happened in regards to what they have set up in the city of Cleveland, Ohio. A handful of us was against issue 4. That's what it was called. It originally started with 269. What they did, they came down in the state and everybody else. They said the mayor takes over the city. All of those people are appointed. What happened in Louisiana under Katrina, I just heard on the radio, I think that was public radio, that everything in Louisiana is now under a charter school. They have basically wiped out public schools, and the people and the parents are having a devil of a time getting their children educated. I don't want, as I've told Reverend Al Sharpton and a few other people, Cleveland, Ohio is my favorite hometown to picket. It is, I have picketed it for over 30 years. It has shown itself to be racist. It has shown itself to be sexist. It has shown itself, no, we're no longer predominantly white. I tell people that all the time. The black folks, we have a different history. We have a different history, and because we have a different history, we don't have the networking that you do to the bigger city. We don't have the jobs, and the system already knows that. I'm not for annexation. I'm not for mayoral takeover of the schools. That is our biggest asset now, is the school system, which is almost $50 million. I'm not, as I've told other people, I'm not ready to roll over and play dead for the state, Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, or anybody else. I won't call a certain name, since the person's family is sitting there. We've had to pick it many times. Many times. The bottom line is, we want people, and we intend to get somebody who cares for this city of East Cleveland, Ohio. We need a new board. We need people who care. There's a lady running in another city that's having problems. I don't know if she'll get elected in Maple Heights, but at least she's coming in to say, I want to help the city. Not I want to destroy the city. Not I want to put it in my pocket. So if the system says, we're going to come in and we're going to roll over you, get ready to be called a few names with my picket sign.
Madam Chair, I thank Tolfree for her remarks. I also always thank Mr. O'Mays for his remarks. But I just want to correct something. The meeting that was called was to go over the recovery plan. And most of the council members were not in favor of passing the recovery plan due to the irregularity. Unfortunately, Mr. Wheeler could not attend because his mother was in intensive care. Mr. King is the one that asked for the meeting to be called, but he had another situation come up that he couldn't be there. Otherwise, they all would have been voting on the irregularities of not passing the recovery. In all of that, like the chair said, the recovery plan was due in 120 days, and it was not there. So it was not a viable plan, and it caused us to lose money anyway. So I just wanted to straighten that out, that the council is doing their due diligence and their prudency. And we have engaged our law firm. So having said all that, I appreciate your comments. And Ms. Tolford, you're always making a point. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate the chair for indulging me to give out corrections, because I do want to make it very plain that this council is working in the best interest of the residents and the stakeholders. Thank you. And I appreciate the, I will say this, I also appreciate the auditor and the young lady that came and explained all of this, because it's a time and a place to explain each of the different areas. I appreciate Anita and Tisha, the managers, coming, because they are in charge of the finances and bringing out and the work that they did on this book. So it is explainable here that if you look on the book, you'll see all the options and weigh all the options. Now, the auditor didn't do that before, he's doing it now. But my representation had come forth and said that they were looking for more options for the city. So right now, we're engaging our representation to do that. And that will come forth, and all the residents and the stakeholders here will be advised of what is taking place. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the commission? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
On the voice vote, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. None. This meeting is adjourned. Yes.